Welcome to CE Ag Talks, the video series from CE Ag World, a media site devoted to the business of growing food undercover, including greenhouse produce, vertical farms, and outdoor protected crops. Today, we're welcoming Glenn Behrman, founder and president of CEA Advisors, a company that offers consulting services for CEA companies. Glenn also designed and developed custom Growtainers, which are patented vertical farms housed in 20-foot, 40-foot, and 53-foot shipping containers. Glenn, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
If you've been on LinkedIn recently, you might have seen Growcer CEO and co-founder Corey Ellis's post announcing Growcer's new partnership with Growtainers. This partnership may come as a surprise to some, as these companies appear to be clear competitors in the CEA industry. For today's conversation, we're going to focus on how this partnership came to be and how these two companies will work together. So for starters, how did your partnership with Growcer come about?
We thought very seriously about making a bid on the freight farm's assets. But after, a lot of internal evaluation and discussion, we felt that it was not a prudent move. And, we just didn't see the value there. Interestingly enough, when anybody has ever contacted me over the past 5 or 6 years, has anybody's ever contacted me about containers for those climate challenged environments, I always referred the customers to them because I felt that they were in Canada. They were more experienced with, minus 30-degree weather and diesel power and they were strong in that market. And I figured it didn't make sense for me to ever try to compete, because what's actually interesting is that, the customer always came first.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that Growcer could do a better job in those environments than we could. I reached out to him and I said, why don't we fill in the blanks? You guys make a one-size-fits-all container, which is the exact opposite of what we do. That's when the fun really started, because, we started talking about what areas they needed help in and what help we could provide.
Can you give a specific example of a project that you would work on with Growcer?
Oh, yeah, definitely. In the Northwest Territories, and I believe they call it the First Nations, there are communities that could definitely benefit from something bigger than a container, and feed. In other words, there's an economy of scale. I mean, you can only do so much in a container. And once you get into a complex of 3 or 4 or 5 containers, at that point, you're better off to be in a building.
Mm-hmm.
And they just don't have in other words, they're laser focused on what they do. Okay. And we're laser focused on everything else.
In Corey's LinkedIn post announcing your partnership, he stated that you share similar beliefs on what it takes to be successful in vertical farming. Can you elaborate more on what those beliefs are?
Well, I think that container farming is a very tough business. It's easy to grow the crop, but it's not that easy to sell it profitably. Okay. And I think that the freight farms model was kind of flawed from day one. They said that they were creating a community, but I think that they were more holding people hostage. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it's a tough business. I can't see somebody spending $150,000 just to buy a job. I remember calling out the CEO at I think it was at the Indoor Ag Conference, where he said that a freight farm would be profitable and give a return on investment in 2 years. And that's not reasonable. I mean, you can't sell people a bill of goods. You got to be honest and you got to tell them, the truth. Obviously, at the end of the day, the decision is theirs, if they want to move forward. But I think that Corey and Growcer, they're kind of not in it for the money. You know what I mean? They get some pleasure out of what they do, and they are helping people. I mean, they're bringing fresh vegetables and fresh produce to people that wouldn't ordinarily have it. And I think that we're the same way. We're just not gonna, like I said, I've been doing this for many, many years. A lot of what I do personally is ruled by my conscience. you know,
Mhm.
and I'm just not gonna take somebody's money just to take their money. You know what I mean? It's not right.
Well, Glenn, I look forward to seeing how your partnership takes off over the next year, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Great. It was nice talking to you.